Okay. Malcolm and Marie, it's on Netflix. It came out a couple of days ago. It's written and directed by Sam Levinson. And it stars Zendaya and John David Washington. It's the story of John David Washington is a director who has just premiered his directorial debut, and he's just come back from the premiere party with his girlfriend Zendaya, and they get back and an argument ensues. And that is really what the whole film encapsulates, is this, well, very toxic relationship that kind of spars back and forth in an argument over the course of this evening and into the morning. And yeah, I mean, that's probably all you need to know about the plot.
I mean, yeah, that's all you can really say, because, like you said, it is set in one location. I would describe it as a bit of a talk-a-thon. It's just one very long conversation, basically.
It is, but is it even a conversation, is what I want to ask. Because it's basically just monologue after monologue.
Voice.
Well,
but is it even a conversation? He says.
Thank you for joining my TED Talk.
He says swilling his brandy.
Yeah. No, but do you get what I mean? Like, they don't always talk to each other in turn. It seems like it's a series of kind of, it's one person unloading on the other, and then the other person unloading straight back after a brief reprise where they go from the bedroom back into the kitchen or whatever it is.
The stairs leading up to the bedrooms.
Right, where do we start? You've got stairs going up to your bedroom.
Yes, I'm putting that soundbite in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, but that it almost bothered me a little bit, because it almost felt like that. Who was it? Sam Levinson directed it.
Yeah.
It almost felt like he was trying to balance to make sure they got like equal screen time, and it just. I mean, overall, I didn't enjoy this film. Just putting it out there, I found it a slog to get through. I found
it was exhausting, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite self-indulgent, a bit pretentious, and I struggled to see any real points of enjoyment. I think it looks great. I think it's well shot,
yes.
And obviously it's black and white film, and it works well in the setting and with the actors, and I think the performances are good. But
yeah,
I think that's the big thing, is that it felt like a performance. It felt like it should have been a stage play, where it was like a two-man show, and
yeah,
I just couldn't get into it. I really struggled.
Yeah. So I mean, I've read a lot of reviews about this film as well, because I heard that certain critics were panning it, which is quite funny, because there is a whole part of the film where the director character, played by John David Washington, basically goes in on critics.
Yeah,
and
film critics don't like being criticised.
Yeah, and so part of it made me laugh quite a bit, because I was like, oh shit, of course the critics don't like it. They've just been told to go fuck themselves by this film. But also, like, it didn't feel like that was something that John David Washington was saying as his character. It felt like something that Sam Levinson was saying, because he was annoyed about it.
Yeah.
And one of the things about writing a film is you have to make it so that your characters portray their character. But this felt like it was about Sam Levinson rather than the character that was in it. And so
yeah, I'd say that's fair.
It was so kind of overwritten with the dialogue between them, that it was like he'd sat down and he'd basically thought everything that he wants to vent as a director, or as someone that is incorporated into the film world in any way, everything that he wants to vent, he's going to put on this film, and he's just going to fucking lay out as many people as he can in doing it. But then he affixed a new character to it, and it was almost like, well, I'm not really sure how to feel about that, because there's even that scene where they mention, well, why don't you just have a rant and then stick it on YouTube, if that's what you're talking about, authenticity. Well, that was almost like, that's sort of what I felt like Sam Levinson should have done.
Actually, yeah, that's a pretty accurate representation of where this creative outlet should have gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it really hard to even discuss it, just because it sort of passed me by. I watched it last night and then had to rewatch parts of it today, just because one, it all sort of blended into one for me, and I don't know. I don't know if it's just not my cup of tea. This is my problem today. I was like, do I dislike this film, or is it just not my kind of film? Like, I'm not big on musicals, but that doesn't mean that all musicals are bad. It just means it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
And it was similar to
No, I
this.
get you.
It's like, I couldn't tell if I just didn't like it for whatever reason, or if I didn't like it because it's not something I would normally enjoy. And I'm starting to think it's the former. I struggle to see how anyone could watch this film and then think, oh, I love that, or oh, I really want to watch that again, like in a month's time, being like, oh, I really want to rewatch Malcolm and Marie. I struggle to find even films that are like somber, melancholic, or even nihilistic. I still find aspects of them I enjoy or want to watch again or found compelling. And I just can't find a single thing about this that speaks to me on any level, apart from the aesthetic and the performances.
Yeah, you see, I really liked the structure as an idea, like how it could be accomplished. This was also a film that was made in COVID times, so it was.
Yeah, wasn't it the first Hollywood production that was like started and finished in lockdown or something?
Yeah, so like that's quite interesting, because a lot of the way that it was set up with a 2-person cast and a minimal crew, and also I imagine shot in black and white in order to save on having
like color correction,
kind of lighting setups and having that kind of stuff. So it was smartly done as an idea of how to achieve a film in the context, but the content didn't keep up with everything else, like the soundtrack by Labyrinth, which was also made me laugh a lot when I saw that he was the
I actually didn't know that until you just said it, but that makes perfect sense.
I really liked the soundtrack.
The soundtrack was fine. Yeah, I didn't dislike it. It was fine.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and
I think you're right. It's almost served more of as an experiment, but then if you're having a experiment as to what you can achieve in lockdown, you don't then hire 2 A-list stars to be in it, because that's taking it from an experiment to something you're trying to deem higher than that. And it just, like you say, it's a good example of what you can get, like what you can accomplish, but it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, fair enough. What are you going to rate it?
I'm struggling. I'm between a 4 and a 5, but I feel harsh giving it 4 because it's well made, and I don't know, 5. A hesitant 5.
Okay, I feel bad because I've agreed with both of your scores, but I'm gonna give it a 5. Bang in the middle. Never have to watch it again. Kind of film. That's where I see it.
I can tell you now, for the rest of my life, I will never willingly watch this film again. The only reason I would start watching it is if someone I was dating wanted to watch it, and I just did it because I'm trying to be a courteous partner. But that's it. That's the only reason.
Oh,
I did it all for the nookie.